And I remember them complimenting me over and over about how your intonation is so good.
You're right. Lie, 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 lie. That's it. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. More you lie. Lie, 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 lie. Yeah, lie, 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 lie. Yeah, lie, 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 lie. Yeah, lie, 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 lie. Yeah, lie, 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 lie. Yeah, lie, 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 lie. Shabbat shalom. Welcome. We will be going between our Sidurim, our prayer books, and the red folder, and I'll do my best to call out those page numbers. If I look up and see some lost faces, I'll realize I forgot to do so. And before we go into our opening song of Hine Matov, how good it is to gather together, it would be nice for us to know who we are gathering with, as is minhag in our congregation, to share our names. If you're new, if you're visiting, how long you've been here, just a tidbit about you. So I will begin and we'll move around the room. I'm Lee Crow. I'm the Shlichat Tzibor here, the ritual leader, very newly hired. Although I've been lay leading for a while, and I'm really honored to have this position and to fill in, as it were, while we continue our search for a rabbi. Would you like to begin over here?
Sure. Hi. My name is Greg Nistrom. I have been coming here since the beginning of 2023. I'm also currently right in the light, and I'm so right in the window. And this is my husband, Kurt.
Hi, I'm Kurt. Kurt Weigel. I am his husband.
I hope
I hope so too. You're a liar. We came to be coming for the same length of time, and I'm actually in the slow process of converting.
My name is Gavin Forkash. This is my first time in the congregation, so I'm very happy to be here. I got some very nice welcoming emails, so I'm happy to be here.
We're glad to have you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Matt, I've been here about 4 years. They tolerated me enough to let me keep coming back.
And make you present for the congregation, as it were.
Aviad, Ali Fuchs, just moved to over there less than a year ago, actually last June, with my wife and kid, 10 years in Texas, and then born and raised in Israel, as you can probably hear by my accent. Yeah, I'll be here.
Hello. Tachi and B. Paulus, we've been here all 4 weeks. So we'll be here just temporarily. So glad to be here.
Welcome back. You made it to the highlights of Passover Seder, and now this is going to be our first Erev Shabbat full service, as I mentioned to a few of you, know since October. We've been doing Friday Night Lights, kind of a shortened Kabbalat with a guest speaker, so some of these prayers have not been sung for a while within these 4 walls, but I look forward to doing that with you. And since we are not yet at a minyan, I've mentioned there are a couple prayers that will be omitted, and I'll kind of direct us through that. But we begin with Hine Matov. You can find in the red folder, which is this, page 6. The version of this Hine Matov begins with the Hebrew, and then there's English that is a call and response. So whatever I say in English, I would love to hear back. We'll give it a go. Hine Matov u'mana'im she'erachim gam yachayim. 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 How good it is, how sweet it to be together on this day. How good it is, how good it is, how sweet it is,
How sweet it is.
to be together on this day. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Together. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Hinei matov u'manai, shevet achim galam yachad. Hinei matov u'manai, shevet achim galam yachad. Although the sun is still out, our tradition here at Temple Shalom is to light our candles, and we will continue to do so through the summer. And perhaps when you return home and it's closer to sunset, you may relight them at your desire. But we will continue in our red folder for the candle blessing, which can be found on page 1. On the very,
Lee, I think we just got our minions.
did we have a minute?
What do you know? What do you know?
Yeah, actually.
Whoa. That's a meaning in itself.
Here, happy to have you. A short reading. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the many generations of Jews who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Okay. All right.
Oh, what cute. Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת. We continue on page 11 of your folder with Shalom Aleichem as we welcome the angels, the ministering angels, which I shared that Talmudic story before. If you don't know it, see me after. I'd be happy to share it with you. Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mihi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mihi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barkuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mihi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mihi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. As we welcome Shabbat through Kabbalat Shabbat, we now turn to our prayer books. Page 147, you'll notice it's actually both sides of the open page are the same page number. So when we move a page, you will always be turning. Shir Ladonai, sing a new song to Adonai. Begins. Lechunaranana Ladonai Nariya Litzur Hishenu. Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Ladonai Shir Hadash. Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Ladonai Shir Hadash. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along all the earth a new song unto God. Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Ladonai Shir Hadash. I will sing unto God a new song. I welcome Matt to the Bima to take us through a Shabbat meditation.
We are here together as one people, one community. We've joined to share in this treasured moment together as we transition from the hectic demands of life and daily routines. We are invited to leave the week behind, to let go of what has been, let go of what will be, and enter a place of stillness, sacred space for space and time. As the sun begins to set, breathe in the glow of the sunset and pause. Breathe out the stresses of the week. Breathe in the calm of nightfall and pause. Breathe out and feel a sense of release. Breathe in the radiance of the moon and the stars and pause. Breathe out all thoughts of doing and become one with this present moment. Feel the warmth of relaxation wash over you. Breathe in the radiant light and pause. Feel your mind become open and unfettered. Breathe out and feel your soul become free to soar to new heights. Breathe in the calm and pause. Feel yourself surrender. Breathe out everything and focus only on now. And feel your body, mind, and soul become whole and at peace. Now we are finally ready to graciously accept this present from our loving Creator, to embrace God's gift of rest and rejuvenation, to turn our complete attention toward Shabbat, to savor all that Shabbat provides, and become enveloped by holiness as we breathe in and out once more. We pause and welcome the Shabbat bride.
The welcoming of our Shabbat bride is done through the final prayer of Kabbalat Shabbat, L'Chadodi, which can be found on page 152 of your prayer book, noting that we do verses 1, 2, 5, and 9, rising on the final verse to physically welcome the Shabbat bride in from outside and into our midst. The choreography will feel new to some and familiar to others, but we certainly are welcoming the Shabbat bride into our sanctuary at that final verse. Lecha Dodi Li Rakava Pene Shabbat Mekabela Lecha Dodi Li Rakava Pene Shabbat Mekabela Shabbat Zachor Vidi Kureva Ishmianu El Hanyuchad Adonai Echad Shemo Echad L'Shem Tiferet Veli Tzilat Echad Dodi Yikrakava Ene Shabbat Mekabela Verse 5. Eternity, Iba Ore, Umi Uri, Uri, Shirna Beri, Vora Donai, Alai Nikita, Meher Dori, Lika Kala, Mene Shabbat, Mekabela, Meher Dori, Lika Kala, Mene Shabbat, Mekabela. Please rise. Woe Shalom Ater Kala Yam Besimcha Ubetzolach Tochadunei Yam Segula Woe Kala Lehadodi Likakala Mene Shabbat Mekabela Lehadodi Likakala Mene Shabbat Mekabela. We stay standing for part 2, which can be found on page 157. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach We continue reading as you are seated. Ma'ariv Aravim Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bivaro Ma'ariv Aravim B'chochma Poteach She'arim U'biguna Meshana Itim U'machalif Et Ha'azmanim U'mesader Et HaKochavim V'mishmerotechem Be'akir Kirtzono Borei Yom V'Layla Golel Or Mipnei Choshech V'choshech Mipnei Or U'mahavir Yom V'avdil ben yom u'ben layla Adonai tzvot shemo Elachai v'kayam Tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai Amaharim harabim Ve'avacha al tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev hamo Yisrael. We pause here before moving on to Shema and have Avi come up for a reading on page 158.
How should we do this? All read together?
Yeah, together would be great.
Preach.
There you go. So we're going to say together, Kavanah, God's love. Praised are you, our God, who arranges the seasons and the stars, who restores day and night, and who has brought on the evening twilight. When we meditate on this universe, which you create anew day after day, we are filled with wonder and awe. We see ourselves as tiny specks in a vast universe, and we are filled with fear. You seem too busy to be concerned with our lives, and we feel alone. We see the difference between ourselves as we are and as we might be, between ourselves as we are and as we would like to be, and we feel inadequate and powerless. But you, God, you understand what we feel. You know how our souls can be released from their bonds. And so, through your great love and your people, you have given us a precious gift, the Torah. When we study your Torah and observe its commandments, we find that, small though we are more important in your plan than the mightiest star. And we find that far away who you see, in reality, you are no further away than our own hearts. And we find that, powerless though we feel, with you we gain strength. We will therefore study your Torah and grasp the way of life that it offers us at every possible opportunity. We will always rejoice over the words of your Torah and the fulfillment of your commandments, for they are our very lives, and they add a new dimension to our days, so we will tirelessly try to understand and live by them. Through them, we always have access to your love. Blessed are you, Adonai, loving your people, Israel.
We continue with Shema on page 159 to show our statement of faith and belief in our one God, and continue on to Ve'ahavta afterwards, noting that the final paragraph of Ve'ahavta is actually then on 161, so we will skip from page to page. I like to get the choreography before we go so that we can be fully present, intentional in our kavanah, in our presence in this prayer. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. If it is your custom, you may be seated to continue Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובחומך ושרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם As we move from Mitzrayim, the God who took us out of the land of Egypt, in Ve'ahavta, into Michamocha, I offer a reading. There are hours, days, longer sometimes, when the soul hovers over a frail trapdoor that we fear will open. We will fall into the narrow straits of our own slavery, our own Mitzrayim. We even live in astonishment that it has not yet opened. We cling to hope, to vision, squinting to see the other side of a rough sea. Suddenly, we feel the touch of a hand. It reaches down to us. It wishes to be grasped. We are surprised at the courage it takes to reach for the hand. We let it draw us up out of the darkness. We stand safely on opposite shore. We know redemption. The reading I just shared is based on a Hasidic teaching of Martin Buber, so elements of it sound familiar. That may be what it is calling upon. We continue with Micha Mocha, which is found in the bolded letters at the very bottom left of page 162. And the verse we sing after Micha Mocha, again, if you flip the page to 163, is there. Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 lai. Micha mocha ba'im Adonai, micha mocha ne'etar b'kodesh. Yoratehi lo rosei pelech, Yoratehi lo rosei pelech. Malechutecha ra'u banecha, Lokei hayam lifnim Moshe Miriam. Ze'eli anu ve'yamru, Ze'eli anu ve'amru. Adonai le'olam ba'ed. Adonai le'olam ba'ed. Yai lai lai la 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 la. Yai lai lai la 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 la. Yai lai lai la 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 la. Yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. I have a reading selected, but I'm not sure I asked anyone to read it. Do we have anyone who would like a reading?
Oh, if it's in English.
In English, yes.
Okay.
Page 163, beginning, May you Adonai help us sleep in peace.
Can we come up there?
You're welcome to stay there. You project well.
So, I'm sorry, please tell me again where it begins.
May you Adonai.
Help us sleep in peace.
May you, Adonai, help us sleep in peace, and may you afterwards restore us to life. May you spread over us your sukkah of peace, and may your guidance enable us to grow. May you save us because that is your essence. May you protect us and banish from us all enemies, plague, sword, hunger, and pain. May you remove all evil spirits from our path. May you protect us under the shadow of your wings. For you, Adonai, you watch over us and protect us. You are a ruler who provides grace and mercy. May you guard our comings and goings. May your life and for peace now, now and forever. May you spread over us the sukkah of shalom. Blessed are you, Adonai, who spreads your sukkah of peace over us, over your people, Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Thank you. We continue on page 165 with the singing of the Shamru, followed by Chatzi Kaddish. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Beini u'bein bnei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shamru bnei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Ki shishat yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim et haaretz. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. U'bayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinapash, Shabbat vayinapash, Shabbat vayinapash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbav, ve'almad yibrach v'yotevim lich malchutei, v'chayechon u'yom echon, u'chayei techol beit Yisrael, bagala, bagala, ubizman kariv, v'imeru, amen. Yehi shmira b'mevorach, ve'olam olam yomaya, yitbarach, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitramam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shmei kedusha, richu, le'la min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran v'yalema, v'imeru, amen. We rise for the Amidah, the fullness of our tefillah, as we go from page to page and follow along in the chanting. Adonai tzapatai titachu b'yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, let my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor HaRa, El Elyon, Gomel chasadim tovim, v'konei hakol, v'zocher asei avot imahot, u'mevi geula livnei b'neihem, leman shemo ve'ahava, melech ozer u'moshiach u'magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Abraham Bezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye kol chai atah Rav le'oshia, Mori chatal, Mechalkel chayim v'chesed, Mechaye hakol v'rachamim rabim, Somech nochlim v'rofech olim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato l'shenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umido melech, Melech memit mechayem, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'chayot kol chai, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye kol chai. Atah kadosh v'shem hakadosh, Ukdoshim b'kol yom yahalucha selah, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. We continue silently, a moment of private prayer through page, at your own pace, through page 174, whether you find those prayers in the Sidurim, in your heart, as we reflect upon the prayers that we bring before Adonai on Shabbat. As your prayers have concluded, you may take your seats. If you're still praying, please continue to do so as I offer this song from Psalm 19. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. Ve'egyar once again, Shabbat Shalom to everyone here, everyone online. We're so glad to have you. I've been thinking about a topic for this drash, this teaching, for some time now. And when I sat down to put thoughts to paper or screen, as it were, I had the intention of selecting a single prayer to elevate, for us to examine, and to do my best to enlighten us on that particular text, the meaning, the source, and so on. However, I started and set aside 3 different drashes on 3 different prayers. But not to worry, I don't believe my efforts were in vain. I'm confident those drashes will come to be in subsequent months together. I set them aside for now because each time I delved into a specific prayer, the same set of questions came up in my own thoughts and in my research. I was unable to hone in on any one prayer without first answering, why are we here? No, not the philosophical musings on the meaning of life, our place in the universe, or the role of God and all of that. I mean, very specifically, why are we here in this synagogue on Erev Shabbat, reading, chanting, singing from our Sidurim, our prayer books? Why do we gather as a community to pray on holidays, festivals, and the like? Does anyone recall a commandment in the Torah that says, you shall gather together on these days at these times and pray these prayers together as a community? It's not in the Torah, but the Talmud does identify Deuteronomy 11:13 as the source for the mitzvah to engage in daily prayer. Quote, if then you obey the commandments that I enjoin upon you on this day, loving the eternal your God and serving with all your heart and soul. For many of you here, that likely sounds at least vaguely familiar, as it is part of the Ve'ahavta prayer, which, if you didn't know, you now do, comes directly from the Torah. But similar to what I shared at our Passover Seder together, if we solely rely on the Torah or the Tanakh, the Torah, the Nevi'im, the prophets, the Ketuvim, the writings, we do not have the fullness of how to fulfill this mitzvah in modern times. And for those who are not able to join us on the Passover Seder, the gist of this reference is that what is shared, what is detailed in the Torah as to how we are commanded to celebrate Passover looks very little like what our Seders are today. And I'll come back to that point a little later on. But returning to our text in Deuteronomy, in English, we hear the word serving, as in serving the eternal, your God, with all your heart and soul. In Hebrew, the Hebrew there is ula avodah, the root being avodah. While the literal translation of avodah is work, it would be incongruous to describe that what we are doing here on Shabbat, and every Shabbat for that matter, as work, since we are expressly forbidden to work on this day of rest. But as is the case with many words, especially in Hebrew, they have multiple different meanings. Avodah can mean physical labor, physical work, but it can also mean worship and service. Some see this as spiritual labor in the forms of prayer and studying. This duality of work encompassed by the word avodah immediately brought me back to the Jewish summer camp I attended in my middle and high school years, many decades ago, at Osrui in Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. At Osrui, there's an entire unit of older youth who are at the in-between stage of no longer being campers, but not yet old enough to be a counselor. This unit, which has existed summer after summer for many, many decades at this point, is called Avodah. The individuals in this unit are referred to as avodanics, and they engage in physical labor by cleaning camp facilities, toilets, preparing spaces for events, maintaining outdoor areas such as walking paths, mowing grassy areas, etc., but also doing spiritual work of regularly studying with a highly respected rabbi. Many rabbis, so I've now learned, actually vie for this particular position at camp. It's very much revered not only for the campers, but for the rabbis themselves. And often they study together the entire summer on a singular text. In my days, it was Song of Songs. I'm not sure what the hip text is these days, but that was what all the Abodanics like to study. So how did we get from, if then you obey the commandments that I enjoin upon you on this day, loving the eternal your God and serving with all your heart and soul, to praying 3 times daily plus 1 extra time on Shabbat, and so on and so forth. As I mentioned in reference to our Passover Seder, these structures come to us from our rabbinic tradition and teachings in the Talmud. They are one of the outcomes of the destruction of the Second Temple. Our coming together to engage in communal prayer is a direct result of no longer having the temple in which physical sacrifices and offerings were made. Instead of 3 burnt offerings each weekday and an additional 1 on Shabbat, Jews participate in 3 daily services during the week and 4 on Shabbat. Instead of Beit HaMikdash, the temple, we have Mikdash Me'at, a small temple or a mini temple, our shul, and the many shuls that Jews gather in all over the world. While I could continue down along this path of delving further into our rabbinic teachings as to why we have specifically prescribed prayers and pray at specifically prescribed times, which, as an aside, I do find very interesting, how it involves the Talmudic discussion of our patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But instead, I'm going to make a small departure back to the communal aspect of prayer. To be clear, personal prayer is important in Judaism. There are many instances in the Torah of individuals crying out to God in prayer. We even have moments within our communal prayer services specifically set aside for individual prayer. That being said, in order to have a Mikdash Me'at, a mini temple, if you will, our shul, we need a community of individuals who come together to pray. Our tradition teaches us that God is everywhere and that God is felt by those who invite the divine presence to dwell among them. And reflecting on the verse from Exodus chapter 25, Ve'asu li mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham, and let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them. Rabbi Benjamin Samuels writes, the divine eminence is not an individual pursuit, but a communal effort. Build for me a mikdash, a sanctuary, and I will make it my home on earth. Build for me a kahila, and together we will make it kedosha. I'll explain that in a moment. So in this, we go from building a mikdash, a temple, and making it God's home on earth, to building a kahila, a community, and making it kedosha, holy. So us coming together in prayer, and also in action, tikkun olam, repairing our world, is what takes us from a community to a holy community, a kahila kadosha. Perhaps the prescribed prayers in our Siddur don't speak to you yet, but your presence and our prayers collectively is what takes this physical space from a building to a mikdash me'at, a mini temple, a shul. It is my sincere prayer that for the time that I'm serving as our Shlichat Tzibor, we will engage in the spiritual work of avodah by learning together and from one another. I further pray that by doing this work, we will strengthen our Kehilat Kadosha, our holy community. Can you hear our song? May it be God's will. In the spirit of asking God's blessing, we turn to God for a blessing of healing. If you or someone dear to you is in need of healing, I invite you to stand now, and when I pause in the Hebrew of the prayer, to share their names aloud. Misha berach avotenu v'imotenu, hu yivarech v'yirapeh et hacholim b'neinu. Vishlach lahem mehira, refuah shlema, refuat hanefesh, urefuat haguf. O God, who blessed our ancestors, bring the blessing of complete healing to all who suffered. Healing of body, mind, soul, and spirit. Endow those who tend to them with gentle hands and wise hearts. Strengthen those who love them with courage and patience. Comfort those at the end of their days with a sense of wholeness, and bless us all with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofeh HaCholim. Blessed are you, Adonai, our source of healing. Together, we'll be singing our prayer, the Misha Berach, for healing, which can be found in your red folder on page 8.
Who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Let's go in of giving with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We continue with our concluding prayers, a laning which can be found on pages 179 and 180. Please rise. Aleinu l'shaber l'adon hakol, l'tekenu l'yoser breshit, shelo asanu yoye haratzot, velo samanu mishpachot ha'adama, shelo samchalinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נותן שמיים ויוצר הארץ ומושך מקורו בשמיים ממעל ושבינה תוזו בגובה מרומים Hu Eloheinu Einod, Emet Malkeinu Efes Shulato, Kletatu B'Torato, V'yazat Hayom, V'yadash Hayom, V'hashevota Elevatecha, Ki Adonai Hu Elohim, B'shamayim Imah, Ve'aharetz mitachat einod. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz v'yom ha'u yiyeh Adonai echad Ushemo Echad. You may be seated.
Birth is the beginning and death a destination, and life is a journey. From childhood to maturity, from youth to age, from innocence to awareness, and ignorance to knowing. From foolishness to discretion, and then perhaps to wisdom. From weakness to strength, or strength to weakness, and often back again. From health to sickness, and back we pray to health again. From offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love. From joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, and grief to understanding, from fear to faith. From defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey stage by stage. A sacred pilgrimage. Birth is the beginning and death a destination, but life is a journey. A sacred pilgrimage to life everlasting. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race, religion, and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. I ask if there are any among us who are in a period of mourning or remembering someone for their yahrzeit on this Shabbat, or holding close the life of someone who has gone before you, to stand and share their names aloud so that we may offer comfort in our prayers as a community.
Sister Machal.
Along with those names and memories shared, we offer our congregation's prayers for the yahrzeits of Fanny Marcus, Annette F. Amdursky, Louis Wolf, Beryl B. Gordon, Bill Roaming, Janet Ellen Goldberg, Carl Estrie, Robert R. Levine. Together, we draw all of those named and unnamed into our own hearts. And for those who are able, we rise together to praise God as we recite the Mourner's Kaddish on page 182. Yikadal, Yikadash, Shemei Rabbah. Yomad Yivrach Yotei V'yamlik Malchutei. V'chaychon Yomechon V'chayei Kol Beit Yisrael. V'adolav Yizman Kari V'imru Amin. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam Olmei Almaya. Yiparach V'shabach V'pa'ar V'tramam V'tnaser. V'tadar V'taleh V'talal Shmei Kusha Ve'elam Min Kol Birchata V'shirata. Tushbechata V'nechamata. Damiran V'yama V'nebru Amen. Yehi Shalom Rabba Min Shemaya. V'chayim Aleinu V'yakol Yisrael. V'nebru Amen. Oseh Shalom V'romav. Huya Aseh Shalom. Aleinu V'yakol Yisrael. V'yakol Yoshvei Tevel. V'nebru Amen. May God send comfort to all those who are bereaved among us. And together we say, Amen. You may be seated. We pause here for announcements before our concluding prayer and before we join downstairs for Kiddush. We have tomorrow, will be Torah study here at 10:30. Our website is being updated constantly. We have services next month, and we look forward to continuing, I look forward to continuing a learner style service where we will elevate, as I mentioned, a particular prayer. It'll be a full service, but we'll hone in on where does that text come from? Why do we pray it? What is the greater meaning of this prayer within our service arc? I will invite lots of questions, feedbacks, and I may not have the answers, but we'll learn together. So that learner style service will continue. So I really do encourage you and welcome you back each month. Any other announcements? Anything I feel like we're out of the holiday stretch. Like we've got a good while. Long the Omer, I suppose, over Memorial Day, but not a lot of the big meaty ones to come. So our concluding prayer, or concluding song, is I handed out, yes, Kahila Kadosha. I felt tied in nicely both to the camp reference, and also Kikilak Shah and my drash about learning to be a holy community. This is one that was popularized in the early 2000s by Dan Nichols. And he came to Ostarui and taught a session on this song. And it's one that I just, lots of good memories of being around Jewish friends, and I hope to make those memories with all of us in this Kehillah Kadoshah as well. If you are a Tem, then we're Nitzavim. We stand here today and remember the dream. Same thing. If you are a Tem, then we're Nitzavim. We stand here today and remember the dream. Kehillah Kadoshah, Kehillah Kadoshah, Kehillah Kadoshah, Kehillah Kadoshah. Lie, 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 lie. Die, 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 die. Oh, die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. Each one of us must play a part. Each one of us must heed the call. Each one of us must seek the truth. Each one of us is a part of it all. Each one of us must remember the pain. Each one of us must find the joy. Each one of us, each one of us. Each one of us must play a part. Each one of us must heed the call. Each one of us must seek the truth. Each one of us is a part of it all. Each one of us must remember the pain. Each one of us must find the joy. Each one of us, each one of us. Kehillah Kadoshah, Kehillah Kadoshah, Kehillah Kadoshah, Kehillah Kadoshah. Each one of us must start to hear. Each one of us must sing the song. Each one of us must do the work. Each one of us must right the wrong. Each one of us must build the home. Each one of us must build the hope. Each one of us, each one of us. Kehillah Kadoshah, Kehillah Kadoshah, Kehillah Kadoshah, Kehillah Kadoshah. It's how we help, it's how we give, it's how we pray, it's how we heal, it's how we live, it's how we help, it's how we give, it's how we pray, it's how we heal, it's how we live. If you are a Tem and we're Nitzavim, we stand here today and remember the dream. If you are a Tem, then we're Nitzavim. We stand here today and remember the dream. Kehillah Kadoshah, Kehillah Kadoshah, Kehillah Kadoshah, Kehillah Kadoshah. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Whoa, lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Shabbat shalom.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'll list that. I thought I was